Hello, friends. I hope you are all well. Today is the 4th of March, 2024. And about 3 hours ago, the US Embassy in Islamabad tweeted this out. I extended my congratulations to Shahbaz Sharif today on his assumption of office as Prime Minister of Pakistan. I look forward to working closely with the government and people of Pakistan on our mutual interests. Signed DB, which is Donald Bloom. Now, obviously, the US Embassy Islamabad is using some sort of VPN to access X or Twitter in Pakistan because otherwise it's inaccessible. No one can do it since the elections on 8th of February. And, there was a lot of effort in the United States as well to delay some sort of recognition, at least as far as the Pakistani-American community was concerned, delay the recognition of a government that many see as the result of mass rigging, the result of manipulation, fraud, voter fraud, pre-poll rigging, and it's become, it's become an issue. It's like a fire rod almost for a lot of Pakistani Americans who are now trying to engage with their lawmakers to highlight this issue. And one of these is, of course, Munzir Naqvi. He is associated with something called PakPac in Georgia. We let him tell us about it. Go ahead, Munzir. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm involved with PPAC Georgia. We are the Political Action Committee. We are pretty much stand for Pakistani-American Political Action Committee. We have the Georgia chapter where we educate congressional representatives, have events with them. Our goal is to advocate for Pakistani-American interests in either in the United States or as reflective of the foreign policy in Pakistan. Therefore, a group of us in Georgia got together and just started the PakPac Georgia chapter. And our goal was to engage each one of our representatives on what's happening in Pakistan, the importance of democracy and human rights, and as well as looking out for the interests of the Pakistani-American community. And
hold on a second there. You talk about the Pakistani American community as a monolith, like sub ek hai. Is it a monolith? Is it a monolithic community? How many people are we talking about? Is it like 1 million, less? Where is it concentrated? Who are these people? What are these people doing in the United States? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's various different aspects of the Pakistani American community. As diverse as Pakistan is, the Pakistani American community itself is pretty diverse. So you have various different interest groups. One of our goals is to ensure that these interest groups, is synced and aligned with what represents a general view of the Pakistani American public. One of the other issues that we have internally is just uniting the Pakistani American community itself. So the Pakistani American or the PakPac Georgia chapter is specific to the state of Georgia. And over in Georgia, we have about, I would say, in general, a population of 30,000 Pakistanis who have some association with Pakistan. So our focus is specifically the Georgia or practically the Atlanta-based Pakistani American community. We represent them and their views and their districts.
I'm guessing it's a lot of doctors, maybe some engineers, but mostly from the medical field.
Yes.
Or IT.
Pretty much. Or engineers or entrepreneurs. In the Atlanta community, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, which is a little bit different from the Chicago community, for example, the New York community, or the Texas community in general. The Atlanta community, yes, we have doctors, but we are mostly entrepreneurs, business owners, just young professionals, because part of that reason is the fact that we have various different institutions like Georgia Tech, Georgia State, UGA. Those are more, like Georgia Tech is more engineering school, but because of that, we have a lot of software engineers and just general professionals in the IT
industry. Seems like these are, the sense I get is, and this might not be limited to Atlanta or Georgia, but these are educated, it's an educated community. a lot of educated people, a lot of high-earning people. It may be in Texas or Chicago, where you've also lived.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what are their political leanings? Because they can have certain political leanings in the U.S., but what are they supporting or thinking of in Pakistan right now?
So the overwhelming majority of Pakistani Americans support pretty much Imran Khan's party, and that's PTI. The general view, I would say maybe about 85 to 90% of our community would support PTI because it represents a certain hope, a ray of hope for Pakistani Americans. And I will also say that Shaka Khan Memorial Hospital, the fundraisers that we host, because many Pakistani Americans either are involved with it or contribute to the charitable cause. And I think because of that emotional attachment, many of them support Imran Khan or have leanings towards Imran Khan. And they don't necessarily have a connection with PTI itself, but with Imran Khan and what he stands for. And because of his philanthropic projects and efforts, pretty much. That connection is very important.
So why doesn't this then affect the governance? Because I'm guessing a lot of these people, Pakistanis, were supporting Joe Biden and the Democrats. Why hasn't
Yes.
their support for Imran Khan translated to some sort of political action on the American government when we see so much, for
Yes.
example, suppression of Imran Khan, his supporters, and in fact, the general mandate of the people in these highly rigged elections?
Yes. This has been a big challenge for the Pakistani American community because, first of all, our community has been one of the weaker political community. Like pretty much in politics, we have been very weak. And in terms of our community, even though we are a highly educated community, politically, we are the most weakest community in the United States. Part of that is our lack of understanding in politics, in terms of politics in the United States, how politics work. The second aspect is the fact that our own lack of education in terms of what to do and how to approach Congress representatives, because it's beyond a letter writing campaign. You have to actually engage the Congress reps in person. And what we don't understand is that Congress works for us. It's not the other way around, that Congress work or we work for the Congress. So we haven't really been proactive in making sure our voices are heard. And therefore, it takes just a group of us to engage and get united. It takes some time, and it has been difficult in terms of motivating the community because it's something that's new to someone, something that's foreign to someone in terms of political engagement. They're not going to be involved in it. And it's something that's still hard and difficult. But what we can do and what we're doing since the events in Pakistan is that trying to get the community together, united. We introduced a resolution, House Resolution 901, in support of democracy and human rights in Pakistan, which this resolution is ensuring that the foreign policy is reflective of democratic values. It has been a big challenge, and we are trying to pressure the Biden administration to respect human rights in Pakistan, because they do it and they issue statements regarding Venezuela, Iran, Russia, but they don't do the same thing regarding Pakistan. That has been a big challenge for us because
Why are these double standards, Munzir?
Why? I would say internal politics and the lack of understanding within the DC circles of how strong the Pakistan American community can be.
What do you mean lack of understanding? You've got so many Pakistan wongs, policy wongs at the Atlantic Council, at NED, at all these, at the Hudson Institute, Hussain Haqqani, famously, not the Haqqani network, but Hussain Haqqani. So, you've got a lot of these experts that are in the US, in DC, in that circuit, but there seems to be a disconnect between what you're saying and what they are doing or they're saying. So what's happening there?
Yes. So what they may be saying is and pretty much represents an interest group, or may have represented an interest party. But what we represent, the Pakistan American community, does not reflect what they represent. And I think there has been a big disconnect between us and them. And perhaps they have a different goal or a different agenda. But our agenda is to represent the real views that reflects the Pakistan American community. And I think those think tanks may not always sync with what reflects our views. And I think part of that is our own lack of engagement. And I think we need to be more proactive in that. And I think what we're doing in Georgia, we cannot change the whole entire Pakistan-American community in the whole country, but we can do a small part here in Georgia just to educate our congressional representatives. And we've been working
Tell
with
us a little bit about those efforts. What kind of reps are you
Yes.
talking about? Because recently there was a petition which was signed by like 34, 32 congressmen and women. And Caesar, Greg Caesar from
Yes.
Austin, one of the congressmen, was involved in that as well. That got a little bit of traction, but it came a little late. So what kind of congressman, what kind of traction are you talking about? Fundraising? Because there's money involved.
Yes. There's fundraising efforts, but mostly constituents speaking out to their congressional representatives to educate them on what's going on, why it's important for U.S. interests to engage in pretty much an educational drive. There's pockets of the Pakistan-American community, like the Congressman Greg Caesar. The Texas community has been deeply involved in that. The only issue is that we need to collaborate more with the various Pakistan-American communities throughout the country to have a more effective voice. And I think that's lacking at times, but I think there's an opportunity of hope with organizations like PakPac Georgia chapter and PakPac Michigan chapter working together to ensure that our voice is connected and more collaborative so that our voice can be strengthened. So individually, I cannot speak to what the letter states, but what I can speak to is the House Resolution 901, which has support of 94 congressional representatives in the United States, which pretty much speaks in favor of democracy and human rights in Pakistan.
This is something that the US obviously pushes in Pakistan. As a Pakistani American working alongside other Pakistani Americans, why are you still, or what kind of connection do you have with Pakistan? Do you see this connection increasing or decreasing in generations that are coming after you? Like, what kind of relationship are we talking about? Why be so emotional about what's happening in Pakistan as an American?
Yes, as an American, it does affect American foreign policy. You know, personally speaking, have an attachment to Pakistan because that's where I was born. It's my country of birth. And to see that human rights issues that happen in Pakistan are like contradicts my values, especially as a Pakistani American. You know, we have people in America who speak up for Ukraine, for various other countries, but within our own community, the least we can do is speak up for Pakistan, or at least for the people of Pakistan. You know, being a privileged lifestyle in Pakistan or in the United States, I feel like it is my responsibility to like stand up for the people, or like at least speak on the issues that affect the Pakistan American community. You know, it's one of those situations where you know, it's easy to forget Pakistan because of all the issues that are in Pakistan. But what's important is that the truth is out, that the congressional reps are getting an honest opinion of what's happening in Pakistan.
Yeah, but why can't they just approach the Pakistan embassy and get an honest opinion from them? Why do they want to engage with the? So there's a balancing act almost there, right?
Yes, there is a balancing act. In terms of the Pakistan embassy, it may not reflect the views of the people of Pakistan. And democracy, the great thing about democracy is the fact that elections are the best hope. When there's inconsistency in elections, where the elections, the results are different from the outlook, I would say the outcome is different from what the people voted. That's a concern for the Pakistani American public, because the embassy only states what the pretty much what the government tells them. And there's obviously, why do we watch alternative media versus PTV? We know that there's a certain objective from these institutions. Whereas with the Pakistani American community, the great thing about that is that you hear a more authentic voice. For Congress reps, that's important because that's the authentic view. That's their constituents. For them, a Pakistani-American constituent is that's their voter. That's the person
It's
that
more
will
important. He's more
re-elect them.
important, or at least should be more important.
Yes, exactly. And especially when election time, these things matter because it's that person, because our Pakistan American community is not just connected to a certain ethnicity. We are also a Muslim American community because we are also seen not just as Pakistani Americans, but the majority of Pakistan Americans are Muslims, and many of them hold leadership positions in various mosques throughout the United States. And that's very important because that does impact U.S. relations with the Muslim American community, as well as the congressional reps' importance for that community. And I think we need to engage more with congressional representatives, whether they're Republican or Democrat. I think we are starting to realize that, but I think there's always rooms for an opportunity for improvement.
Because there's, from what I'm gathering, is there's some intersectionality between the Pakistani-American issues or issues close to their heart and the Muslim-American issues, right? For example, Gaza, Israel, and all of that. So it's interconnected when it comes to Muslim Americans and Pakistani Americans. Is that right?
Right. Exactly. That's the key. And I think for Pakistan Americans, we're not just concerned what's going on in Pakistan. We're also concerned what's going on in Palestine. And that's important for us. And that's what many of the Pakistan Americans communities has been engaged on, is the Palestine issue and the lack of human rights.
So how does it make you feel when you see Pakistan not leading on that front domestically or back home, or the Pakistani government?
I think, the Pakistan ambassador made a great speech in favor of Palestine and what's happening in Palestine. That's been positive. I think that's been noted within the Pakistan American community.
At the UN.
Yeah, at the UN, yes. Munzir Akram's speech. That's been highlighted. But I do think that one of the reasons why the Pakistan voice is not taken seriously is that because the Pakistan does not take care of its own issues, homegrown issues. And that's why in the international community, if you want to gain respect internationally, you have to take care of circumstances at home. And I think that's one of the reasons why. So for the Pakistan American community, we don't really care much about what Pakistan says because, we have deep concerns within democracy and human rights in Pakistan. Whereas
specifically with Imran Khan, or broadly as well?
Broadly as well, because of the general overall human rights situation. We want, to be honest, we want what's better for the people of Pakistan. Not just we want Pakistan to prosper economically, but that only comes with credible leadership. That's important for people to understand that. And when, your own overseas community respects you, or when they see you as credible, that's when they will start listening to the government of Pakistan.
Which they don't right now. You don't think they see them as, even though David Bloom, the U.S. ambassador to Pakistan, tweeted that, congratulated and we'll work with you on towards mutual goals. You don't think that take them seriously?
Not the Pakistan American community. We don't take that seriously, no. Because we know what's going on. We see it in our eyes thanks to social media and as well as other media outlets. But we are also well aware, it's important for us to understand that it's not just about the people of Pakistan. It's about the overall situation. In the end of the day, if you're a democracy, your government should reflect the will of the people and the mandate of the people. And I think that's a deep concern within our community, that what's happening in Pakistan is heartbreaking and tragic. We are always hopeful. We want the people of Pakistan to prosper, because I think when the people prosper, the country prospers. And if you look at Pakistan's neighbor India is prospering. There are many U.S. companies that are under Indian CEOs, and that's important for us to note. And we have a vice president who is half Indian American, and as
Kamala
well as
Harris.
another presidential candidate, Nikki Haley, who is also an Indian American. But we don't see that within our own community in the United States. But we are
Not many
working on that.
not many
Not many.
Pakistani lawmakers in Congress, huh?
No, and that's something we need to work on ourselves. And I think it's the young generation of Pakistani Americans that can make an impact and change in Pakistan or in the United States, where we are respected. There are many out there, but they're just, in terms of the numbers, they're not. We could do much better.
We can do much better, but we're not certainly doing better right now. That's for sure. And the Pakistani American community is also an essential part to all of this. Munzir, thank you so much. Oh, before you go though, as a Pakistani American, someone who has stakes in both countries, right? What role do you think the American government under Biden and the U.S. embassy under Blome has played in what has happened in Pakistan, if any?
Yes, I think there certainly has been influence within the American government. I think they knew of information beforehand regarding what the events are to come, so they definitely have played a role. And it does not help when the American ambassador meets with the chief minister-elect right after the elections, as recently as happened just a few days ago. It's does not reflect of the will of the Pakistan American voters, and we are deeply concerned the fact that they have been silent. The Biden administration has been silent on the events.
It's calling it an internal affair. You spoke of double standards. It said it spoke about Belarus, elections elsewhere, Venezuela maybe, but in Pakistan, internal affair. Imran Khan, internal affair.
And it tells you that there may be a role within the U.S. that they have played, because there are certain elements.
Well, that's
in
what
the US
Imran Khan alleges, right? The cipher conspiracy, Donald Lu Intercept story also came out on this. So there is this element that the Americans might not have been as ambivalent to what was happening. And so your thoughts on that?
Yes, my thoughts. I think the Biden administration has missed an opportunity, especially building an opportunity to build with a bridge with the Pakistan American community, just by speaking up on human rights, on democracy, on having a free and fair election process. I think they need to be more public, but the fact that they haven't raises concerns within me that they may have had a role to play, or they support what's happening in Pakistan. And so it's very tragic, but that's something that we as a community need to work on, and to educate our Biden administration. But the fact that,
or the Trump administration, if the polls are anything to go by, maybe the Trump administration, continues.
Exactly.
And then it might be a completely different game. Munzir, thank you so much for all your time. Really appreciate it. We'll have you back on the show anytime. And this is a conversation that we need to carry forward. I'm calling it there's the Overseas Pakistani series, right? So you're the first Overseas Pakistani to come on the show and talk about these issues, but we'll get Pakistanis from all over the world. We'll try to make this into a platform for them where they can come and express their views. And I'm hoping that you come back as well.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ali. Great to have. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
तो आपने सुना नाजरीन, you guys heard Munzir Naqvi, who is a Pakistani-American policy researcher who's been trying to work with the Pakistani-American community and get their grievances to American lawmakers, specifically in his case, in Georgia. This is an ongoing effort. What has happened in Pakistan on the 8th of February has deeply impacted people that are Pakistanis that are residing outside of the country. पाकिस्तानी अमेरिकन्स इनको हम ओवरसीज पाकिस्तानी भी कहते हैं, और इनकी जो आगे जनरेशन्स आ रही हैं, पाकिस्तानी अमेरिकन हो गए, पाकिस्तानी ब्रिट्स हो गए, गल्फ के अंदर जो पाकिस्तानी रहते हैं, यूरोप के अंदर जो रहते हैं, डूसलडॉर्फ, जर्मनी, हर जगह पाकिस्तानी फैले हुए हैं, नॉर्वे तक पाकिस्तानी मौजूद हैं, जापान में पाकिस्तानी हैं. तो मेरे ख्याल से उनकी आवाज, we talk about millions of people here, उनकी आवाज लाना, एक प्लेटफॉर्म देना बहुत जरूरी है. और इसीलिए Munzir Naqvi was the first of many, inshallah, ओवरसीज पाकिस्तानीज जो आएंगे इस प्रोग्राम के ऊपर और हमसे आके बात करेंगे अपने यानी रिजर्वेशंस का, होप्स का, उम्मीदों का, सबका जिक्र करेंगे इस शो के ऊपर. I hope you like this content. Do like, subscribe, and share, and press that bell icon so you can get notifications on when content, or let Ali show you content is on air. अपना ख्याल रखें. खुदा हाफिज और अल्लाह हाफिज.